Before we begin, I want to warn you, this story isn't easy to tell. It's uncomfortable. It deals with infidelity, emotional confusion, and family relationships that didn't turn out the way they were supposed to. If you're not in the right place to hear a story like that, you might want to stop here. Okay. Here goes. My name's Bailey Benjamin. I'm 18 years old, and I live in a house that used to be full of noise. Siblings fighting over who gets the shower first, my mom shouting from the kitchen to take the trash out, and my dad walking in with takeout bags like he just saved the day. Now, it's just me and my dad, and silence. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. My siblings, Cairo, Scout, and Amani, they've all moved out and built their own lives. I was still in middle school when our family split down the middle. My mom, Dorothy, she packed her things, slammed the front door, and didn't look back. That was 6 years ago. Since then, it's just been Dad and me. Nathaniel Nava. My father. The quiet one. The steady one. The one who never left. I guess I got used to it being just us. The house stopped feeling empty after a while. Instead, it started to feel like a bubble. Just him and me. We'd eat together, talk about our days, binge shows at night. I started to think of us as this perfect little team. No drama. No chaos. Just us. It was almost peaceful. But the thing about quiet is, sometimes it hides things. And sometimes, it gives you way too much space to think. I remember one afternoon, I was walking through the living room after coming back from the gym. I had my earbuds in, hair in a messy bun, my leggings sticking to me from sweat, sports bra still damp. I was just headed to my room. Nothing special. But then I saw him watching me. Not in the usual way. This wasn't the look a dad gives his daughter. And for a second, I froze. He quickly looked away, acted like nothing happened. But I saw it. I'm not proud of what I felt next, but I liked it. It made me feel noticed. Pretty. Important. And maybe that's where everything started. Not with what happened later. But right there, in the silence. In the look. In that weird moment when I felt wanted in a way I hadn't in a long, long time. Maybe I was just lonely. Maybe I craved connection. Or maybe, something inside me was already broken. People always assume that divorce is loud. Slammed doors. Screaming matches. Plates crashing against walls. But ours didn't sound like that. It was quiet, until it wasn't. I remember standing in the hallway the day it happened. My mom, Dorothy Mills, she had this duffel bag in one hand, her purse in the other, and this tight, pressed look on her face. Dad stood near the kitchen table, arms crossed, eyes down, like he already knew she wouldn't turn around. She didn't even say goodbye to me. She just walked past like I wasn't even there. I think that moment shaped everything for me. The way I love. The way I expect people to leave. And the way I held on to the one person who stayed. Dad didn't yell. He didn't fight her. He just let her go. I asked him once why he didn't try harder, and he just said, fighting doesn't keep people who don't want to be kept. I didn't really understand that then, but now. I do. After she left, I clung to him. Not like a little kid afraid of being abandoned, but like someone desperate to feel safe. He became everything. My ride to school. My late-night talk buddy. My rock when I had meltdowns. He cooked for me. He made sure I never felt alone. He never dated. Never brought anyone around. It was just us. And that filled something in me. For a while. I'd be lying if I said I didn't resent my mom. She was never soft. She was cold. Sharp. Judgmental. If I got an A- instead of an A, it was a problem. If I didn't do my hair the way she liked, she'd find something to critique. I always felt like I had to work to earn her love, and I never quite reached it. But Dad? He just accepted me. Messy hair. Mood swings. Lazy days. He never made me feel like I had to try so hard. With him, I could breathe. I think that's why I started dressing differently. Not at school, I still wore jeans and hoodies like everyone else. But at home? I'd throw on crop tops. Tiny shorts. Barefoot. Not to get attention, not at first. It just felt comfortable. Like I could be myself. Like I didn't have to hide. But over time, I noticed something. Dad's eyes didn't move like they used to. He used to look me in the eyes when we talked. But then, he didn't. Sometimes his gaze would trail off. Sometimes it lingered. Just a second too long. I told myself I was overthinking it. That I was being dramatic. That it was all in my head. But the feeling wouldn't go away. That weird awareness. That tension in the air that didn't used to be there. And still. I didn't stop. I didn't change how I dressed. If anything, I leaned into it more. Why? I don't know. Maybe I wanted to see if I was imagining it. Or maybe I wanted to see how far it would go. Looking back now, I think I knew exactly what I was doing. I just didn't want to admit it. I didn't plan it all at once. It happened in pieces. Small ones, at first. I'd be in the kitchen making coffee and stand just a little too close. I'd lean in to ask a question, let my arm brush his. Or I'd sit on the couch right next to him, even when there was a whole other side wide open. One night, I walked into his room to grab the laundry I'd folded. He was on the bed reading, and instead of leaving, I sat down next to him. Right at the edge. I talked about school, asked about his day. Nothing unusual. But I didn't move. Neither did he. There was this heavy stillness between us. Like the air was thick. Like we both knew something was off, but neither of us could name it yet. That's when it started to shift. I started testing things. A little more skin here. A slower smile there. I wasn't sure what I was doing, but I also kind of was. I began to wear my gym clothes longer after I got home. The tight leggings. The cropped tanks. Clothes that clung to me in all the right and wrong ways. I could feel his eyes on me. Even when he tried to look away, I knew he saw me. And I liked it. Actually, I loved it. It made me feel powerful. Like I wasn't just some teenager drifting through life. Like I mattered. Like I could stop time, just by walking into a room. No one at school saw me like that. Boys my age didn't look at me like I was anything special. I was invisible most of the time. But in that house, with just him, I felt seen. And that feeling, it's addictive. Dad didn't say anything. He didn't confront me. He didn't tell me to change. But he did change in other ways. He started avoiding eye contact. Talking less. Sitting on the far end of the couch. He'd leave for errands without saying where he was going. He thought he was being subtle. But I noticed everything. It was like I had him on a string, and I started pulling, quiet, shaken breath one day. I came into the living room after a run. I was sweating, flushed, breathing heavy. He was on the couch, phone in hand. I walked past him slowly. Didn't say a word. Just let the silence drag out. He didn't look up. But I saw his hand tremble when he reached for his water bottle. That was the moment I realized. I had power. Not just over him, but over the way I saw myself. I wasn't some forgotten girl in a broken home. I was magnetic. Dangerous. And I wasn't scared. Not yet. Looking back now. I wish I had been. I wish something in me had screamed, "Stop." But all I heard was silence, and the sound of my own heartbeat. Studio microphone. It was intoxicating, the power. The control. I didn't know it would ruin us both. It started as just another evening. A Tuesday, maybe? I don't know. The kind of night that blends in with all the others. I was curled up on one end of the couch. Dad on the other. Netflix humming in the background. We were watching this documentary about modern relationships. Polyamory. Open marriages. People breaking the rules of love and loyalty. It was the kind of thing most parents would have turned off. But he didn't. He just sat there, tense. And that's when I decided to say something. Just to see what he'd do. Do you think people are meant to stay with one person forever? I asked him. My voice light. Like it was just a casual thought. He glanced over. I remember the way his jaw tightened. He paused the show. "What kind of question is that?" he said. I shrugged. I mean, some people don't even stay with the same person for a year. Marriage seems outdated, don't you think? He didn't answer right away. He just stared at the screen like he was searching for a better topic. "People take vows for a reason, Bailey," he said after a long pause. "Doesn't mean they always keep them, but they're not supposed to be disposable." I laughed. Soft. Just enough to irritate him. "Tell that to Mom," I said. That shut him up. I could feel the tension spike like static in the air. He hated talking about her. And I knew it. So I kept going. "Do you think she cheated?" I asked, quieter now. "Is that why she left?" He didn't answer. Didn't even blink. "Have you?" I added. "Ever cheated?" His head snapped toward me so fast I flinched. His voice dropped. "What are you doing, Bailey?" he asked. Not angry, just confused. I smiled. Sweet. Innocent. Like I wasn't poking a bear. Just talking. You never open up about that stuff. I think it's interesting. He stood up. Walked toward the hallway. But I wasn't finished. "Have you ever thought about being with someone younger?" I said, softer than before. "Someone different?" He froze. Didn't look at me. Didn't say a word. Then he turned. I thought he was going to say something. But he didn't. He just stormed out of the room. No words. No slam. Just gone. I sat there for a while. The documentary kept playing like nothing had happened. Like I hadn't just shattered something between us. And I'll admit it, I smirked. A part of me was proud. Like I'd unlocked another level. Pushed him closer to the edge. But underneath that smile, I felt something else too. Something colder. Quieter. Guilt. I'd never seen him react like that. I'd been inching closer to the line for weeks. That night. I stepped over it. And the worst part? I wanted to see what would happen next. It happened on a Friday night. I remember because we'd made spaghetti. Just the two of us. It wasn't special. We'd eaten that same dinner 100 times. But something felt different. He poured us each a glass of red wine. I wasn't even sure if he noticed he gave me one too. Maybe he was distracted. Maybe he just didn't care anymore. Or maybe, deep down, he knew what was coming. We sat across from each other. Chewing. Talking about nothing. But underneath the table, my foot kept brushing against his. Not by accident. He didn't say a word. Just kept eating. His face blank. His eyes heavy. Later that night, he was sitting in the living room, half watching some late-night show. I came downstairs in a silk robe. One I never wore. One I had tucked away for a night I shouldn't have planned. It was short, loose, bare underneath. I walked into the room like it was just another night. Sat on the couch beside him. Too close. He stiffened. Didn't look at me. Just kept staring at the screen like it held all the answers he needed. Long day? I asked him. My voice barely above a whisper. He nodded, but didn't respond. You're quiet again, I said, tilting my head. I reached out, fingers gently grazing his arm. He pulled away. Bailey, he said, barely holding it together. This isn't funny. I smiled, but my chest was pounding. Who's joking? I whispered. He stood up suddenly. Like standing would help him escape whatever he was feeling. Whatever he was trying to shove down. I'm going to bed, he muttered. I got up too. Walked over slowly. My hand touched his shoulder, then slid down his arm. He flinched. But he didn't move away. You don't have to, I said. He turned to face me. His eyes were filled with something I'd never seen before. Pain. Fear. Hunger. Shame. All at once. We stood there for a long second. Too close. Breathing too loud. Then, it happened. He kissed me. Or maybe I kissed him. I don't know who leaned in first. Maybe it didn't matter. Once our lips touched, the rest disappeared. Time folded in on itself. He pulled back. Just for a second. Like he was going to stop. But I didn't let him. I took his hand. Led him to my room. And the door shut behind us. Studio microphone that night, I crossed a line I can never uncross. And what's worse? I planned it. I wanted it. I thought it would make me feel powerful. I thought it would fill that aching emptiness in my chest. But all it did was split me in two. The next morning was the loudest silence I'd ever heard. I walked into the kitchen and he was already there. Coffee mug in hand. Same routine. Same chair. Same everything, except his eyes never met mine. I said good morning. He didn't answer. He just got up. Poured himself another cup. Left the room. And that's how it started. The distance. The wait. The way he moved through the house like a ghost. He didn't yell. He didn't accuse. He didn't even ask me why. But he was different. Every movement felt rehearsed. Every word clipped. Every breath forced. He couldn't look at me. Couldn't even be in the same room for more than a few minutes without finding something else to do. Somewhere else to be. And me? I pretended it didn't bother me. I smiled. I joked. I made his favorite breakfast the next day like nothing happened. But inside, I was split wide open. Part of me felt like I'd won. Like I'd pulled off some impossible trick. Like I'd taken back power that had been taken from me over and over again, by life, by family, by the silence of this empty house. But the other part? It felt sick. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't think straight. My body felt like it belonged to someone else. I stopped going to school. Started making excuses. Headaches. Cramps. Stomach bugs. Anything to avoid walking through those halls like nothing inside me had changed. I stopped texting people back. Stopped answering calls. My world shrank until it was just my bedroom, my guilt, and the sound of Dad's footsteps pacing the house like he was trapped. There was one person I eventually told. Hazel Mejia. My best friend since 8th grade. She was the only one who ever really knew me. The real me. One afternoon, I showed up at her house unannounced. She took one look at my face and pulled me inside. We sat on her bed. I didn't even know how to start. I just said, I did something really bad. And when I finally said it out loud, what had happened, how it happened, she stared at me like I was a stranger. Bailey, what the hell, she whispered. Why would you? I didn't have an answer. I just cried. And cried. Until I couldn't feel my hands. She didn't hug me. Didn't tell me it was okay. She just stared. And that stare hurt more than anything else ever could. It said, you're not who I thought you were. And maybe I wasn't. I thought I had more time. Time to figure out what came next. Time to think. Time to control the story. But I didn't. It was a Saturday morning when I heard his voice. Cairo Flynn, my oldest brother. He was in the kitchen, laughing with Dad like everything was fine. He hadn't told me he was coming. No warning. Just showed up. I remember freezing at the top of the stairs. My hands gripping the railing so hard my fingers hurt. Cairo always had this sixth sense. He could smell secrets. And I knew he'd see it all over me. The first night, I tried to act normal. Ate dinner. Smiled. Laughed at his stupid jokes. But my hands kept shaking under the table. Later, I locked myself in the bathroom and cried into a towel. I don't know how long I stayed like that, curled on the floor like a child. But when I opened the door, he was there. What's going on with you? He asked. No judgment. Just concern. The kind that breaks you more than anger ever could. I said I was fine. I lied. Again. But that night, I broke. I couldn't sleep. The guilt sat on my chest like a weight. And I kept hearing my dad's voice in my head. The way it cracked when he tried to speak. The way he wouldn't look at me anymore. I snuck into the living room. Cairo was still awake, scrolling through his phone. I sat next to him. Said nothing. Then I whispered, I think I messed up. Bad. He didn't flinch. Just waited. I didn't give him the full truth. Just enough. Enough to make his jaw clench. Enough to make his breathing stop. Tell me you're joking, he said. I looked down. I couldn't. He didn't yell. He just stood up and walked away. And I knew exactly where he was going. The next morning, Mom was at the door. Dorothy Mills. Ice in her voice. Fire in her eyes. She didn't hug me. Didn't ask questions. She went straight to Dad. I heard her yelling from upstairs. Every word like a knife. You're sick. You don't deserve to be near her. I'll ruin you. Dad didn't argue. He just stood there. Silent. Defeated. Like he'd already punished himself harder than she ever could. That night, he packed a bag. Walked out without a word. And just like that, the quiet returned. Lawyers got involved. Papers were filed. A restraining order was considered. I wasn't allowed to talk to him. Not even a text. Mom wouldn't even let me stay home. Said I was too vulnerable. Like I was some broken object that needed to be locked away. She sent me to stay with cousin Avery Cole. Out of state. New house. New school. New name, practically. And the worst part? No one asked me what I wanted. No one asked me why. They just shipped me off like a box of guilt no one wanted to open. It's been 2 years. 2 long years since the house went silent for good. Sometimes, I wonder if the silence was always there, just hidden under the sound of normal life. Laughter. Dishes clinking. Doors closing. The kind of noise you don't think twice about until it's gone. I've been in therapy. Weekly sessions. Same chair. Same questions. I still don't have the right answers. They say healing isn't linear. That shame comes in waves. But some days, it feels more like a flood that never really recedes. Just finds new places to seep in. I don't talk to Cairo anymore. Or Scout. Or Imani. I think they blame me. Or maybe they're too afraid to ask what really happened. Hazel? She tried for a while. Texted. Checked in. But I could tell it made her uncomfortable just to look at me. Eventually, she stopped trying. I haven't spoken to Mom since the night she put me on that plane. She didn't say goodbye. She just handed me a printed itinerary, told me not to embarrass her again, and walked away. That was the last thing she ever said to me. And my dad. Nathaniel Nava, I don't know where he is. I heard rumors through Avery that there were talks of charges. Inappropriate conduct. Emotional abuse. Maybe worse. But nothing ever came to court. Maybe because no one wanted to stand in front of a judge and say what really happened. I don't know if he's okay. If he's still working. If he's even still in the state. But what I do know is this, he doesn't talk to anyone anymore either. I burned the one person who showed up for me. Who made dinner? Who stayed when everyone else left? Who tried, even if he failed in the end? And I think I destroyed him. But I destroyed myself too. It wasn't love. It wasn't power. It was trauma dressed in attention, and I dressed it up like a game. I was starving for validation. For closeness. For someone to look at me and say, "You matter." And when he did, I mistook it for something else. I weaponized that need. I manipulated a man already drowning in guilt. And when he gave in, I didn't stop him. I pulled him under with me. Now we're both ghosts. Separate. Unreachable. Floating in different corners of shame. And every time I close my eyes, I wonder, if I had just spoken up, really spoken up, before all of it, would things have been different? Life didn't fall back into place. It didn't magically stitch itself together with time. But eventually, the noise in my head got quieter. I enrolled in a small community college. Took intro classes. Sat in the back. Never raised my hand. Just watched people who hadn't broken anything yet. I started working part-time at a bookstore. There's something about alphabetized shelves and quiet corners that feels safe. No judgment there. Just stories. I haven't dated. Haven't let anyone in. People ask if I'm scared of love, but that's not it. I'm scared of confusing it. So I stay alone. I write now. In journals. Pages and pages of everything I didn't know how to say back then. The twisted thoughts. The guilt. The parts of me I'm still trying to name. Therapists say it helps. Some days it does. Some days it just hurts differently.